I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact focused on personal growth, my Knowledge Workbook series and Creative Healing course can help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about I believe my dismissive avoidant truly loves me. If you're going through a breakup with somebody that has more of an avoidant attachment style, you're going to feel very conflicted. There's going to be a big part of you that truly feels like you know what they want and how good your connection can be, and in many ways it really is great. But you also know that they have this avoidant attachment style and they get overwhelmed by feelings easily. They get overwhelmed by connection and obligations and responsibilities, and it makes them want to run away. Now, people with more of a dismissive avoidant attachment style, in my opinion, in my experience, they have gotten there because they have had more trauma, okay? Now, I'm not trying to belittle anybody's trauma, because trauma for somebody can be extremely overwhelming, and we can all have a different level of ability to handle that. And that is not something I'm trying to blame about or say there's something wrong with you or it's your fault. It's just that, based on our experiences, our personality, our life, some people can be more resilient in some ways than others. Now, again, I want to make this clear. I'm not trying to say that, somebody is better than another person. It's just that sometimes that's how we are as human beings. Now, with somebody that has a dismissive avoidant attachment style, in my experience, they've often had some pretty severe trauma, a lot of times emotional abuse, parents with serious issues, alcohol issues, substance issues, personality disorders. Many times they can be bipolar. There can be trauma, all kinds of trauma, abuse. And so because they experience these extremely traumatic events, they tend to be a little bit more angry, cold, lash out. They feel a need to attack, to defend themselves, to push people away when they're getting too close. But that doesn't mean that they don't love you. And it doesn't mean that you didn't have an amazing relationship. And in many ways, they will tell you, you treated me better than anyone ever has. And then sometimes it leads to them saying things like, you deserve better than me. You deserve better than what I can give you. You need more than I can give you. And they often genuinely mean that. And so now, yes, some people do say things like that as an excuse, but a lot of times it's authentic. And if you look at your experiences with that person and you hear the things that they've told you all along and you see how their life is, yeah, many of you know it to be absolutely true. That you probably treated them with more kindness and love and respect than they even got from their own family. So yes, dismissive avoidance can truly love you, but also feel overwhelmed by the relationship and run away. So I see that a lot, and it's tough because just because you may have so many great things, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to give you what you're looking for or hoping for out of that relationship. Now, today I've got an email coaching that I wanted to share with you guys, and I think you guys will see a lot of the issues that you had in your relationships come up, especially if you were dating an avoidant. They said, "Hi, Craig. Thank you for sharing my breakup story. I appreciate the chance to share mine, both for reflection and in the hope that it might be useful for your content. My person and I connected as friends 15 years ago when we were 17. There was something genuine between us even then, but college moved us apart after a brief romance in 2022. We lost contact entirely. Still, she remained in my thoughts over the years. Then, last summer, she reached out unexpectedly. Okay, so after like 2 years almost, we'd both been single for a year. Me with a long-term partner, her with multiple short-term disasters. But it was an emotional re-entry. Fast, deep, and surprisingly natural. Our connection reignited almost instantly. We talked daily, revisited old memories, and created new ones with real emotional depth. You see, so this can overwhelm an avoidant, even though they come on strong in the beginning and they love the attraction and the intensity and how great they feel that bonding with you, then it gets to overwhelm them. I see this constantly. And that's why a big part of what I teach is that you have to have emotional self-control. This is why I say do the workbooks 30 minutes a day. Do the creative healing course 30 minutes a day. Because quite honestly, being in a long-term relationship with somebody who's an avoidant, it's going to take a lot of emotional self-control and it's going to take a lot of skills. And if you don't have those skills, it's just going to fall apart again. So that's what I'm saying. Do the work, do the work, do the work. That's why I have workbooks. And there are, in the creative healing course, it's divided into 10 separate PDFs. Those are like workbooks, but all the different activities with them that are not in the knowledge workbooks. These are, there's cartoons and whiteboard videos and art therapy activities. So there's additional stuff. And you can take a look on the short little videos that I have on the website that tell you everything that's in there. You can open up the preview on each section so you can see all the different activities. There's 10 sections. You can kind of open it up and see the titles of each thing that we have in there to give you a little bit of understanding of the stuff you're going to do. But it's very therapeutic, guys. Let's go on here. Though we were long distance, about a 2-hour drive, we made consistent trips to see each other. We built something that felt mature, loving, and safe. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was real intimacy. We laughed a lot, communicated openly, and made plans for the future. We met family, friends, and had some holidays. Then, 6 months in, it shifted overnight. This is absolutely no surprise to me. I have seen this many, many times over the years. This is kind of what happens when you guys start to form a long-term, meaningful connection. They start to get scared and run away. This is why you have to work on attachment issues, so you don't overwhelm and bombard and lose emotional self-control when they do come back, because a lot of times they do come back, especially when you don't put any pressure on them. I had somebody today, it's hard for me not to laugh at this stuff, guys, honestly. I had somebody that did a coaching with me a couple weeks ago tell me that she's constantly seeing a coach, the world's greatest dating coach, advertising on my channel, which why would I advertise on my own channel? That doesn't even make any sense. And saying that you have to send them a handwritten letter, otherwise no contact won't work. Guys, I have been doing this for almost a decade, just the coaching aspect of this. And I can tell you that is simply ridiculous. And absolutely under no situation do I want you to write a handwritten letter based on somebody coaching you to do that. Sometimes people do it on their own accord. I had a guy yesterday who sent a handwritten letter, not because he saw other coaches talking about it, but I mean, come on. No, you do not need to send a handwritten letter to make no contact more effective. If anything, it's going to make it less effective, okay? Because you're still pushing. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I just want to call these people out and explain to them how and why they're wrong. And I'd like to hear their thought process on anybody that's helped, because it rarely works. That's what I'm saying, guys. Yeah, it might help 1 out of every 100 times, but 99% of the times, it's not going to help. In fact, many times it just makes the person feel overwhelmed and angry and agitated, especially if you've pressured them. So please, guys, be very careful. Just Simply stop reaching out to them. Okay, it's the strongest thing that you can do. It is the most confident thing that you can do. Okay. After that, she became distant, emotionally flat, withdrawn. I supported and showed up for her, but on Sunday, she ended the relationship. Her reason was the work stress. Yeah, right. That she wasn't ready for a relationship. But I sensed that wasn't the true case. No, it's not. Now, sometimes it can be, but not in this situation, okay? I have been doing this long enough to see when there's authenticity there, and I'm looking for it, and I'm looking for, is this just a simple excuse to get out of it, or is this something really authentic? I don't believe it was the work stress. The work stress was probably the same amount the entire relationship, even when they got into it. Based on what I've learned, I believe she's a dismissive avoidant, and that the emotional closeness we'd build, combined with her own internal stress, triggered a shutdown response. She said she loved me and repeated how sorry she was. The guilt was visible. Okay, so that's a nice thing to see, okay? That they feel guilty. That means they care, right? Now, not all the time are they going to show it. Sometimes they're going to hide that. But if you can see visible guilt on somebody, that tells you they care about you and they don't want to hurt you, which is always nice to know that they care about you, right? Because sometimes we even doubt that. After the breakup, she went silent. No explanation, no desire for dialogue or to meet. I respected her space, then reached out only to be ignored. This is what I'm telling you guys. This is what happens the most often when you reach out to an ex, and especially with like a handwritten letter. The response that I saw overwhelmingly was that people were ignored. I saw she was partying on Instagram each weekend, so I sent a final calm goodbye message and removed her. She finally replied, apologizing again, but gave more vague reasons, this time saying we weren't working as a couple. That marked the start of full no contact. Yeah, it's not working as a couple, even though, go back and listen to the paragraph where I described how wonderful and amazing it was. It's not him, okay? Since then, I focused on healing. I've been journaling, learning about avoidant attachment styles, and trying to rebuild emotional clarity. Your videos were a massive help, and it felt like you, Margaret, and Victoria were good friends, sat chatting to me each evening. I thank you. Guys, I know what it's like to be in your shoes. That's why I do this. And the person that you see on these videos every day is who you're going to be talking to, okay? And I had a guy that was really nervous talking to me this morning, and I was like, listen, you already know who I am, okay? You've been watching me every day for months. You know me. You know who I am. This is who I am. I am who I am on camera and off, so don't worry about talking to me. And, I'm not nervous talking to him, and I don't even know him, right? Why? Because I'm used to this. I'm like talking to you guys all around the world every day. It's an enjoyable career for me because I like helping people. I've spent my entire career helping people. I was a behavior analyst for about 3 or 4 years, and then I started working as a therapist back in 2002. But even before that, I was working in the field helping people. And if I wasn't doing this channel, I would be doing a different form of it. So I do this because I love it. And so did Margaret and Victoria, of course. Margaret had spent 40 years in the field helping people. I spent 51 days in no contact, supported by your content, until a friend informed me she's now on Hinge using our holiday photos. Ooh, oh, that's horrible. That would be absolutely horrible. You're putting the picture up that I took of you on a dating website? And for the dismissive avoidant, they'd be like, yeah, but it's a good picture of me. Yeah, but I took it. Doesn't that make you think of me when you're putting that picture up on this dating site? No, I just thought it was a nice picture of me. It can really, really hurt, guys. But that's how a dismissive avoidant can be a lot of times. They say these things just matter-of-factly. That stung. It felt like such a contrast to what she'd said to me. Still, she hasn't deleted any of our photos, and I've noticed she's often online late at night, which makes me wonder what's going through her mind in those quiet moments. You're probably also wondering who she's talking to, because it's very hard not to wonder that. It's now been over 2 months. I don't believe what we had disappeared overnight. No, not likely, but if you try and talk to her about it, she will say it did. She'll be like, it just wasn't working. So don't pressure her. I think she hit an emotional wall and ran, and now may be trying to distract herself from what she felt. Could absolutely be true. The tough part is the mind reading, where we're trying to obsessively figure out what they're thinking and feeling. This is why I say focus on yourself and no contact. When you're wondering these things, you should be doing the creative healing course, okay, and the workbooks. Stop staring at how often she's going online at night. That's not going to help you. And when she comes back, that's not going to help you. Doing the course, answering those challenging questions, doing that challenging material, pushing yourself, that is what gets you prepared for when they come back. And if they don't, you're still going to be in an amazing place. Okay? You're wasting your time watching her go online late at night. Don't do it. You're only going to make yourself more anxious, and you're not going to do yourself any good in turning this around in the long run. You guys are watching the wrong things. I put out lots of amazing content that I know most of you aren't going to watch because it's not clickbait material. If you don't get beyond the no contact videos, you're not going to get beyond no contact. It's simple as that, guys. You need to be prepared for getting beyond that. The relationship didn't work out for a reason. You got to figure out why and do something about it. Otherwise, those things are going to happen again. And I'm not trying to blame you and say it's all your fault. It's certainly not. But you have to be accountable in the right way. I put out a video like how to make your partner feel loved, or things that are going to push them away. I put out an amazing video this week about 5 things that will push them away. Hardly anybody's watching it, but the material in there is so good. I just want to scream at you guys. Guys, wake up. Go beyond no contact. What happens when they come back? You're not going to be ready. You're just barely getting through the day with the no contact stuff, but you're not really preparing for when they come back and re-attracting them. And that's where you got to get. I know it's tough. I held the line in no contact, not from pride, but from knowing I need to protect my peace and self-respect. After the discovery on the dating website, I sent her all her property and gifts she'd bought me back to her in the mail. They've not arrived yet at the time of this email. I hope maybe that'll spark a reaction to get her to come back to me. Yeah, I understand. I don't tell you guys to do those things for a reason, okay? A lot of people do something similar like this, and it doesn't usually work. Not like that. You're hoping that sending her stuff back is going to make her be like, oh my God, I'm losing. No, that's manipulative. Don't do that stuff. If anything, I think it's better to keep the stuff and let her reach out to you for that stuff, because many times it's just an excuse, and they'll do the indirect direct. But you're trying to push this on your terms because you're anxious. As much of a fool I sound for wanting her after this. Your content kept me sane and grounded, and I will forever be grateful. Well, we want to get you past sane and grounded. We want to get you confident. And it sounds like you still have a lot of anxiety, and you got to work through it. It takes time. You want to get to a great place. Yes, she may be dismissive avoidant. She certainly sounds avoidant, although I didn't hear anything that made me particularly think dismissive avoidant. Yeah, there's nothing really here that stands out that I can think of that was dismissive or avoidant, but certainly feels avoidant. you got to leave her alone. And you got to understand that if you're going to be with somebody like this, they're going to have their challenges and their issues, and they may keep running away. If you don't want to be with somebody like that, that's totally fine. You have to make those decisions for yourself. I don't try and tell you guys how to live your life. I just suggest looking at things and making informed decisions for yourself. Yeah, she ran away after 6 months, and she'll probably come running back at some point if you don't chase, if you stop with these manipulative behaviors like sending her stuff back in the mail. I could feel that you would do stuff like blocking her and unblocking her on social media. As far as I know, you haven't done it, but don't do it. Just show confidence. You want to look confident. I think you could hear from her again, because the way you described it, the relationships did sound really good, and it seemed like it was starting to build a nice foundation. Yes, you guys did rush into things, and that's part of the reason that you ran away. But secure people take their time getting to know each other. And that is what you want to do if she comes back, is take it slow. That way it doesn't overwhelm her, it doesn't leave you too vulnerable, and it gives you a chance to really get to know each other and how you will be with each other when your attachment issues show up. Okay, so hopefully this one's been helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. You can get my creative healing course and my workbooks only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.